Some of our best videos aren't really that visual. They're recordings of strange sounds that defy explanation. And this one will leave your head ringing. January 2017. Dylan Dickerson is taking out the trash from his home in Lewisburg, North Carolina, when a loud noise startles him. He grabs a smartphone and records this. The video shows Dylan's backyard. Nothing special, except for that consistent, blaring sound piercing the suburban quiet. It sounds like the source must be nearby, but there's nothing in sight.
Never heard anything like it. So loud. What could that be?
We reached out to Dylan, who says the sound was very real and very scary.
It sent chills down my spine. I felt very in shock. I didn't really know what to think.
Dylan says he later searched for the source of the sound, but never found it. And after he posted the video online,
people came up with so many theories, like it's apocalyptic signs or machinery or factories in the background.
The apocalyptic theory Dylan mentions comes from the Bible, according to Professor of Religious Studies Diana Pasulka.
According to the revelation of John in the Bible, the book of Revelations, the apocalypse or the end times are going to be heralded by these trumpets, the trumpets of Revelation.
But journalist Alexis Brooks suggests another theory. What if the sound is part of a secret program? The U.S. government has previously used high-frequency pulses to study the Earth's upper atmosphere, but many believe these sounds can be used to cause floods and hurricanes. Others say they can down planes and cause chronic fatigue.
Some people feel that advanced technology is being used to puncture and literally shift the ionosphere. Some feel that the weather is being controlled and perhaps used for nefarious purposes.
So here's an interesting fact. The Air Force actually did try to manipulate the weather during the Vietnam War through a secret cloud seeding program called Operation Popeye. So what's the source of this strange sound? A government experiment? The supernatural? Or something else entirely? We sent the video to our audio expert, Dr. Ben Gottesman, who created a spectrogram to visualize the sound.
As you can see, there's like 7 major episodes where they flare up.
First question, could this have been some kind of weather or atmospheric phenomenon?
There's a whole spectrum of different types of thunder, from loud bangs to low rumbles.
But listen to thunder compared to Dylan's noise. Doesn't sound like a match.
Thunder really doesn't produce these sorts of harmonics. It's much more of a lower cacophonous rumble.
Gottesman believes the most likely source is something mechanical.
When the brakes of semi-trucks go bad, they can sometimes produce this long, drawn-out, screeching sound, similar to what we hear on this recording.
Gottesman compared Dylan's sounds with some squeaky brakes.
So that's the truck brake. Most of the energy, the strongest, is at like 260 hertz. And here, it's also, the strongest is around 260, right here. It's good evidence that it's some mechanical sound because there are certain shared characteristics. The harmonics, the tonal structure.
While Gottesman sees similarities, there's something that still doesn't add up.
These were really ominous and strange sounding, so I wouldn't expect one truck to produce what was recorded.
The sound from Dylan's yard seems to be from multiple vehicles layered together. So is it proof or not? Dylan swears the video hasn't been doctored, and he's captured similar sound since. And according to our expert, it's not the weather, and it's likely not end times. The truck brakes theory is interesting, but we can't explain the layering or why the sound went on so long. This case remains a mystery. Our verdict? Unidentified sound. They're hearing it in Rochester, New York.
I want to locate it to stop it.
They're hearing it in Bristol, England. And in Connecticut, Steve Colhayes is even hearing it in his bedroom.
It's a droning sound, and it's a lot worse at night. It's impossible to live with it.
Listen closely. Around the world, people are reporting a low, incessant, highly disturbing hum. Steve says he's been hearing it since 2009. And as you can see on this website dedicated to hum reports, he's one of thousands.
It's a developing map that people self-populate, and it's quite a large community.
The hum is a worldwide phenomenon of this strange, mysterious sound.
Journalist MJ Benaya says the mystery is complicated because the hum is not always the same.
The hum changes. It's not one unified sound across the planet or in different areas.
That's led to a wide range of theories. Benayas, who specializes in the unexplained, says many involve a vast system of secret tunnels.
One pretty wild internet conspiracy theory is that there exists a breakaway civilization, a group of humans who are much more advanced than we are, digging under the earth so that they can build cities under the Earth's surface.
Others believe the U.S. government is building a network of tunnels using shuttered Walmarts as entry points and supply stations.
The U.S. government digging underground tunnels would most likely have to do with stockpiling weapons or supplies, nuclear bombs.
Here's another weird thing about the hum. Only certain people hear it. We've enhanced the best recording we have so you can hear it come through your screen. But we've got questions about its source and its victims. We turn for answers about strange sounds to our audio expert, Dr. Ben Gottesman.
The hum is an amazing sonic mystery.
Gottesman is interested in a theory proposed by hum sufferer Steve Colhayes. A mechanical engineer, he traces the hum to natural gas pipelines.
This is a map that I prepared to find a correlation to pipeline location and hum reports. And within 95% accuracy, this does such a thing.
But other people in this field will say there have been occurrences far from gas plants.
So we have Gottesman do a spectrogram of our best hum sound, the one out of Rochester, to see if he could place it.
Seems like the hum is distinctly different from traffic. You know, it's this continuous hum.
The continuous nature of the sound also rules out weather events, which clearly begin and end. As for the tunnel theory?
Most of these seismic vibrations within the Earth are much lower frequency than what humans can detect. If you're digging a tunnel underground, I'd be hard-pressed that humans can hear it at all.
Gottesman compares the Rochester hum to several possible matches, with no luck, until he finds this. An air vent. Compare that to the enhanced hum.
It's curious to me that it's really a similar frequency to this ventilation fan.
That might explain this hum, but Ben says it doesn't explain all hums or why only some people hear them. The answer, he says, is that some people might have a kind of superhuman hearing that makes the modern world extra noisy.
Hyperacusis is basically an extreme sensitivity to certain frequencies, certain noises. There could be people within a population that, for sounds people could care less about, for them it causes extreme annoyance or pain.
So it seems that the source of the hum can be anything from a gas pipeline to an air vent. But what makes it so disturbing to some hum sufferers? Our verdict? That rare condition called hyperacusis.
February 2015. At first glance, it looks like a totally overcast day in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. But turn up the volume, and it sounds like anything but. Musician Axel Samano is visiting a friend when she notices the eerie atmospheric noises and aims her lens to search for the source, but with no luck. The sound resembles a metallic moaning of some sort. It lasts for approximately 8 seconds and reaches a slight crescendo halfway through, almost as if something is crying out in pain.
The sound was like metal bending. When I realized that sound was coming from the sky, I really got scared because I didn't know what it was.
Catholic miracle researcher Michael O'Neill reminds us that strange sounds from the sky are often read as signs of pending apocalypse. But so far, the world hasn't ended.
Throughout human history, there have been these reports of booming sounds or large screeching sounds or this moaning sound as we hear in Mexico. This is nothing new. People have experienced and reported this in countries all over the world for centuries.
Others wonder if this mysterious sound could be somehow tied to the legend of La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman. For centuries, Mexican children have been raised to fear the wailing woman whose spirit is trapped on Earth, mourning 2 children she drowned in a fit of jealous rage. There have even been reports of strange encounters with La Llorona amongst Spanish speakers all over the world.
Some of the strange sounds we've investigated before could be explained. This one turned out to be squeaky truck brakes. And this was a guy in Jersey with a homemade air cannon. So does this moaning noise above Nuevo Laredo have a common sense explanation, or will it remain an unexplained mystery? Let's listen to our experts.
First, we bring the video to Professor of Atmospheric Sciences, Dr. Deanna Hens, to determine if the sound could be an aeolian tone, which is the sound produced by a strong wind as it passes over or through a fixed object. This singing, ringing tree sculpture in Lancashire, England, was designed with this concept in mind.
I had some questions as to whether or not this could be the wind interacting with a particular structure or something nearby that would result in this particular sound. But the wind speeds were not very high, about 15 miles per hour. So unless that wind happened to be hitting the resonant harmonic frequency of an object that would cause that to happen, that doesn't really explain what's going on very readily either.
Meteorology doesn't seem to hold the answer here, so we bring the footage to our soundscape ecologist, Dr. Ben Gottesman.
When I heard this mysterious Mexican moan sound, I went digging and came across this one from Allen, Texas, from 2012.
When Dr. Gottesman compares the recordings, the similarity to the mysterious sound that caused the sensation in Texas 3 years earlier is undeniable.
Here's our sound. As you see, 5 events. Now let's look at this other video captured in Texas. Again, we see these 5 events exactly the same, which leads me to believe that there's some sort of editing going on here. And so we can say that it's likely that whoever made this video used the audio in the Allen, Texas video.
So, our verdict. Based on Dr. Gottesman's analysis, we're calling this a hoax. This is most likely just a pre-recorded sound found by somebody on the internet and repurposed to create an online sensation. The moaning has less to do with a cry for help and more to do with a cry for attention.
It's April 2020 in the woods near Scranton, Pennsylvania. Chase Floyd, a science teacher, is investigating mysterious howling and whooping noises that he started hearing the night before. Chase continues to record as he explores the area. He now suspects the noises he's hearing were made by a Sasquatch. Let's take a closer listen. It sounds like a strange whooping noise. As Chase seemingly moves closer to the source of the sounds, his breathing gets faster and more labored, but he forges on anyway.
Right now, I'm starting to get lightheaded. I really don't feel good right now. As I kept going, I started feeling nauseous. I got to a point where I was like, well, I just kind of want to get out of here and lay down. So I've done some research on unusual animal sounds. So a lot of like canines make weird noises, but nothing that would make the sounds that are in the video. At least not that I know of in Pennsylvania.
Once Chase shares the video, it racks up over 600,000 views. Field researcher Ken Gerhardt says the animal sounds recorded by Chase are all too familiar.
I've actually heard similar vocalizations, and these are definitely attributed to the Bigfoot phenomenon.
What's more, Gerhardt thinks Chase may be experiencing omoing, a phenomenon first described in Native American folklore dating back 2 centuries. Omoing is said to be an overwhelming energy experienced in close proximity of a Sasquatch. It manifests itself in a variety of symptoms, including temporary paralysis.
I feel good.
So omoing is described as a type of infrasound. The theory behind predators utilizing this infrasound is that it is a way to disrupt, confuse, or disorient their prey animals.
If Bigfoot actually exists, then omoing may be a predatory mechanism, or maybe it's a defense mechanism like a skunk's odor. So there are really 2 questions here, folks. First, what made these sounds? And second, is there anything to this theory of omoing?
Soundscape ecologist Ben Gottesman breaks down the sound waves.
In order to find out what these alleged sounds are, let's compare them to some of the mammals in Pennsylvania.
Gottesman starts with elk, which are known to produce bugle calls like this.
It really isn't a match. The frequency range doesn't match up. The harmonic characteristics don't match up. Up next, we have coyotes. The frequency range is much higher, at around 650 hertz. That's barely at the upper range of the alleged whoop.
Gottesman is unable to make any match, but Professor of Biology Floyd Hayes says that infrasound is for real, and while humans can't hear it, they can feel it. In fact, scientists believe tigers can produce a roar under 20 hertz below the human hearing range. That has the power to stun or paralyze an animal. Also, the lower the frequency, the farther the sound can travel.
Infrasound is something that several large species of animals can produce, and some human vocalists are supposedly capable of producing infrasound.
But Hayes has a bone to pick with the idea that Chase is suffering from omoing or any sort of infrasound attack. His behavior just doesn't make sense.
He's not feeling well. He doesn't leave the area, and he doesn't go to relax somewhere. He still stays there and talks.
After further analysis, Dr. Gottesman says that the sounds recorded by Chase Floyd resemble another set of alleged Bigfoot recordings he's analyzed for us in the past.
When I was listening to the alleged sounds, I couldn't help but think back to Ron Moorhead's Sierra sounds.
He's referring to Ron Moorhead's 1970s recordings known as the Sierra sounds, which many consider genuine Bigfoot calls.
On top, we have audio from Ron Moorhead's Sierra sounds. I'm just gonna play this series of 3 whoops, and notice how the third one has a special flourish. And now, and if I ran a cross correlation on these sounds, they would be upwards of 99% similar. It's the same sound. Down to the tape recording artifacts present in the Moorhead tape. This video is a hoax.
So while we can't rule out the possibility that omoing is real and terrifying, it wasn't the cause of Mr. Floyd's symptoms. Our verdict, this is a hoax. These sounds are a copy of the alleged Bigfoot recordings made in the early 1970s.